Good morning, church, and welcome to the musings for the 15th of May. My name is Dave, and I'm one of the pastors at Community Christian Church at Carolyn. Last week, I started a little series of stories, things that I've come across that I think you might get something from. The following story is one that draws attention to something that each of us can do to help bring the kingdom of God to this world. It involves a young Marine and an old man. It takes place in a hospital room. In the room was a bed, and lying in the bed was an elderly man who was very, very sick. A nurse took the tired, anxious serviceman to the bedside. "Your son is here," she said to the old man. Actually, she had to repeat the words several times before the man's eyes opened. You see, he was heavily sedated because of the pain of his heart attack. But he dimly saw the young uniformed Marine standing outside the oxygen tent, so he reached out his hand. The Marine wrapped his toughened fingers around the old man's limp ones, squeezing a message of love and encouragement. The nurse brought a chair so that the Marine could sit beside the bed, and all through the night, the young Marine sat there in the dimly lighted ward, holding the old man's hand and offering him words of love and strength. Occasionally, the nurse would suggest that the Marine might move away and rest for a while, but each time he refused. Whenever the nurse came into the ward, she could see that the Marine was completely oblivious to her and to all the night noises of the hospital. The clanking of the oxygen tank, the laughter of the night staff members exchanging greetings, the cries and moans of the other patients. Now and then she heard him say a few gentle words. The dying man said nothing, only held tightly to his son all through the night. Along towards dawn, the old man died. The Marine released the now lifeless hand he'd been holding and went to tell the nurse. And she did the things that she needed to do, and while she did those, he waited. Finally, she returned. She started to offer the Marine words of sympathy, but he interrupted her, saying, "Who was that man?" The nurse was startled and confused. He was your father," she answered. "No, he wasn't," the Marine replied. "I never saw him before in my life." "Then why didn't you say something when I took you to him?" the nurse asked. The young man said, "I knew right away that there had been a mistake, but I also knew he needed his son, and his son just wasn't here. So when I realized that he was too sick to tell whether or not I was his son, knowing how much he needed me, I stayed. Actually, I came here tonight to find a Mr. William Gray. His son was killed in Iraq today, and I was sent to inform him. Where can I find Mr. Gray?" With tears in her eyes, the nurse answered, "You just spent the night holding his hand." Friends, when someone is in need, we want to do something, say something, make things better. But what if we can't? What if there are no words? Nothing that can be done? Sometimes all we can do is just be there. And so often, that's exactly the thing that's needed most. God bless you all.